Jack hangs at the side. He is encouraging her. Greetings, this is Top Hat and Buttered Popcorn. My name is John Savers, I'm your host, and today we'll take a look at a recent film, Titanic. Titanic was directed by James Cameron. It stars Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kathy Bates, Bill Paxton, and a cast of many. The acting is strong, the production work is all top rate. I think this is a smashing romantic adventure, and I recommend it to anyone. The story is well known, and the storyline in this particular film is that two disparate young people meet in a catastrophic kind of situation. They have fallen in love. They try desperately to save one another in this situation, but alas, are separated by death. There's a sort of a prologue and an epilogue to this particular film. I saw the original Titanic, and I like that film. As I recall, it's been a long time since I saw this. It was black and white, but this film was somewhat different in its setting and very worthy. The music in this particular film was helpful in kind of working on the emotions a little bit, I think. This particular had kind of a haunting Celtic type of sound by pipe and a cappella voice. But at any rate, this film was surprisingly moving in places. There is a certain bit of using us in the way, but for instance, we see a young mother with two pretty little children in the film, third class. They're locked out, patiently awaiting an opportunity to go topside and get to a lifeboat. And she's trying to comfort the children, wide-eyed, to say the least, and wanting to believe. And she's telling them that they'll be taking us just as soon as they get the people in first class on board, on the lifeboats. Well, we understand that these people in third class have basically been locked into position and have a date with the lower berth in the North Atlantic. We have a certain class play through this. We see episodes that sort of render the swells, the posh, in a bad light. We see the third-class dwellers as being energetic and lively and the salt of the earth worthy and so forth. They're playing the class card here, but it all seems to work, and within the whole context, fair enough. This particular film opens up in contemporary time. We see a salvage operation. Apparently, for a few years, an effort has been made to raise the Titanic. Bill Paxton seems to be in charge of the operation. He is giving also a videotape running play-by-play of the operations involved. He has a nice crew there to help him out. They got him robotic equipment. We see a shot of the Titanic, and it's unpleasing to look at. They have the robotic creature ship with lights and cameras and so forth, remotely controlled. Go enter the Titanic at the bottom, go to a particular cabin suite. They find a safe, And whoopee, it's just what they're looking for, because Paxton and a tight little group of his associates are the only ones apparently that realize that on this Titanic is a priceless diamond attached to a necklace. The diamond is known as La Cour de Mer, the heart of the ocean. Supposedly it was taken from some of the jewels that Louis XVI possessed prior to his losing his head at the hands of the Masonic revolution known as the French Revolution. Incidentally, that episode is celebrated every year, I understand, where Masons in France go to their lodges on this particular day to reenact the scene. Louis XVI was a kindly, gentle fellow and was known to the Masons at the time as the cow. So nowadays, in gathering on this occasion, the chant goes forth in the lodges, "Kill the cow, kill the cow, kill the cow." And people such as Mitterrand supposedly, allegedly participate. But at any rate, this diamond came from that setting, and Paxton wants to get his hands on it. He thinks it's in the safe. The safe has gotten topside. There are comments made about Geraldo Rivera and Scarface's vault, which turned out to be empty. This was ominous. Paxton tries to laugh it off. They do open it up, cameras everywhere and so forth, commentary. It looks like basically a muddy pulp. They do find a painting in there that's kind of marred, soiled, and it's given to be treated by the skilled technicians, cleaned up. Camera cuts to a scene apparently in North Carolina or thereabouts. We see mountains in the background, an old lady working on her craft, a vase spinning clay. The TV is going. There is a commentary about the Titanic and so forth. It gets her attention. She calls to her granddaughter to turn up the volume and stops her work and goes over to take a look. By this time we see a picture of the painting that had been taken from the safe, a sketch actually, and we see a pretty shapely woman wearing the necklace, and this catches the attention of the old woman. Next we cut back to the ship. Paxton is getting ready to go off on another episode of the salvage nature, and he gets a call, and he doesn't want to answer it, but he's totally better. He gets on the phone, and it's the old lady. Her name is Rose Calvert, and she inquires if they found La Cour de Mer. He is taken aback by this because, as I mentioned, he does not think that anyone else knows about it. This gets his attention. He invites her to the ship. When she tells him in reply, "Do you know who that woman is?" And she said, "Why, yes, it's me. I'm a woman." She arrives actually with quite a lot of luggage. It makes, I'm sure those people speculate just how much luggage she might have had when she originally went on the Titanic, including a goldfish bowl with goldfish. Her granddaughter is there, pretty woman, a young woman, to kind of look after her grandma. They get situated in a cabin, although this isn't a salvage equipment type deal, a scientific engineering type deal. It does have certain amenities. She is situated, Rose is. She asks if she can see her picture, and she sees it. Well, it starts to bring back memories. She's something like 104 years old, pretty aged woman, also rather spry for this age, I'd say. At any rate, they kind of start talking to her a little bit about it and whatnot. She sees some of the pieces of equipment, such as a mirror that happened to be a boy she apparently used. She looks at the image and makes a little comment about the image seems to be a little different from at that time. Of course, the remembrances of youth, I think, kind of cut deeper, and therefore it's easier to and more vivid these early experiences. So I think she was able to recall all this quite well. And but prior to doing this, she's giving a rundown by one of the crewmen about what happened to the Titanic, as if she didn't know. But she's given a CAD-CAM type demonstration, 3D, the ship, it's breaking up and so forth, what happened. When the presentation was over, she said, well, somehow when you were there, it seemed a little different. She tells the story, and we get a flashback to the Titanic at berth in England, grand-looking ship, crowd everywhere, working class, posh, and people in between. We see a couple of nice cars for the period come forward. We see a hand extended. A young woman disembarks. She's wearing an off-white dress with vertical rose stripes and a big hat. We see her face looks porcelain and imperious, and this is Rose. She makes some sort of derogatory comment about the Titanic, not quite up to expectations. About this time, a young fellow disembarks, Cal Huxley, played by Billy Sand, who did a good job, I thought, and he actually looked, I thought, like a pretty good catch. Rose, not Rose's type, perhaps, but at any rate, I think many a woman would have gone for the Cal Huxley fellow as presented. At any rate, Rose's mother is also there, also in a big hat and so forth. A rather severe-looking lady, cultured and so forth. They get into the ship, they get situated. Rose has in her possession some paintings that she has collected in Paris and thereabouts, the continent, including a Picasso or two, one appearing to be a Study of the Five Women, kind of a famous painting done in Cubist primitive kind of style. Of course, this is supposed to render a notion of Rose as a woman of intellect, curiosity, romance. I will not say a bohemian, but a thoroughly modern woman. So we will also say we feel that Picasso is undoubtedly someone who can paint,